Michelle.
Hi.
Child, I haven't seen you in so long. So you went to the Chevy dealer.
Just came from the Chevy dealer.
Which is so happy. You haven't. People are listening. She hasn't told me the story, so
No.
you're hearing it as I'm hearing. I know what that means. That means I know you've been obsessed with the black Corvette Stingray
since I was 13.
13 years old, as have I.
Yeah.
If I were going to get one, I get a 76, but you want a brand new one.
I want a brand new one because for me, brand new ones equal less troubles.
Yeah.
I love
because you're going to lease it.
All the 70s. No, I'm going to buy it.
You're going to buy it? Why?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
But first, all the 70s are my favorite visually.
Yeah.
Those original Stingrays with the flat back window. And they're my favorite. But the issues and the troubles that come with it are real.
Yeah.
With vintage cars.
Absolutely. I have 4 vintage cars.
So there's always an upkeep.
Yeah.
So I don't have the patience for that. So I'm just going to get it. I said to my husband, why don't I just lease it? And he's like, no, this is your car.
Yeah.
Buy it.
Yeah.
You want it. So bless his heart. He wanted to surprise me for my 50th.
Yeah.
And he knows what I want, but there's things like there's a spice red versus an adrenaline red, and what do I want for the interior?
Yes.
So he couldn't do without me. So I said, we really shouldn't do it. We've got a daughter in school. He's like, Michelle, do it now.
Yeah, life is now.
He's trading in his truck that he just got a year ago.
That he owns.
Huh. He's going to trade it in. Because we got it from CarMax, so we didn't pay. It wasn't brand new.
Yeah,
but
put the Max on your face before you put the Max on your child face.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're going to do that, and then he's going to take over my lease that I have now of my car that I'm currently driving, which he loves.
He loves that car
because he's not in love with his truck. There's issues that he doesn't love, like the pickup. The transmission feels like it drops. Like there's certain things, and it's a great truck, the Ford Explorer, but he's not. He doesn't love it as much as he loves my car. So he's going to take over that. And I'm going to get the vet for my main car.
You're going to get that vet. How long? You've wanted that vet since you were
13.
13 years old.
I told you, I used to have pictures of Madonna on my wall, Kajagoogoo, Sex Pistols, mostly Madonna, tons of the Go-Go's, and right smack dab over my bed was a whole Corvette collection.
Was it? So when did you get on the black Corvette tip?
Black Corvette started pretty young. I'm going to say in high school. Originally was obsessed with the 68 Corvette and in the ones from the 60s.
Yeah. And that's Ivana now. Hey, Ivana, is that you? Yeah, we have someone coming down to get you right now.
She has to go through the garage.
Yeah, you have to go through the garage. Actually, Frank is going to come down and get you right now. I thought he was... go through the garage, and then if you can find your way, but there's a man coming down to pick you up right now.
There's a man coming down to get you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right.
So I was obsessed with the 60s for a long time.
Yeah.
And then as I saw them as time went on, I went, these aren't really what I love. The 70s is what I really started to love. Yeah. And as I became obsessed with the shapes and styles and saw everybody else kind of trying to do their own version of it, I realized what I really love is this Corvette Stingray.
Yeah. Get it. I love that car.
And
I love that
the
car.
80s had so many issues.
I wasn't crazy about the 80s
Me neither.
ones.
And they had engine issues. They had so many problems in the 80s that they really locked it and loaded it in the late 90s. And they've been on I've been like 14 years since they really changed it.
Michelle, I would, though, implore you. First of all, I'm very happy you're doing this, but I would implore you to do the lease. That way, if you do get a lemon, you can exchange it, or it's only for 2 years. And if it's a lease, you can update it 2 years from now. And that way, you can keep current and you can just not have any problems. I think, especially in LA, and honey, as many miles as you put on these cars.
I know.
I think you should lease. Now, I listen.
But see, with the mileage, leasing does not work out to my benefit.
Right.
Because I live far. Now, I'll live closer in a couple years.
Yeah.
But I live far right now.
Yeah.
And I have to build mine. The people at Chevy have scanned everywhere. Nothing that I want exists.
Oh.
So I have to build her. And she's not like the Carbon and the Z. She's not all that.
Yeah.
But the fact that I want a black with this specific red interior, I want it automatic.
Remember when you rented one and you brought it out to Simi Valley?
That was the Carbon 65 Z07 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Are you getting that?
Not that one. That one's $110,000.
And what's the difference with yours?
I'm not getting the Carbon 65 package because I don't need it. I'm not test driving it on. I'm not going to be on a track. I don't need all that. So I'm not going to have that package knocks off a whole bunch to begin with.
Yeah.
And I don't need the Z. I don't need the revved up, souped up, speedy. I don't need that. I'm a speeder to begin with.
Right.
Me having that would be terrible.
Right.
So I'm just
Recipe for disaster.
Amen. I am getting the higher version. I'm not getting just the basic.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting the navigation. I'm getting the red interior, which
Have you tried to do the Michelle discount storyline over there?
I got a Michelle discount storyline, but it's not a Michelle discount storyline. It's a people helping me out storyline.
Oh, are they fans of Michelle Visage?
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of queer people that work at Chevy. You'd be surprised. Yeah, working to my benefit.
God.
It ain't a lot, but the way I see it, and I was even pricing 18 versus 19 because the way
2018
versus 2019.
What are you getting?
No difference. I'm getting a 2019 because there's no difference.
Yeah, no difference. In price, though?
No difference in price. The only difference is on the 2018, because they'll try to move them at the end of the year, I'll get more rebates.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it.
Good for you. You know, life is for living. And I was just thinking, this thing goes by so fast.
It does.
It goes by so fast. I don't know
fast.
what I was looking at the other day and realized it was 3 years ago. I don't remember what it was. The Christmas album? Because I have a new Christmas album coming out.
Yes, you do.
What when did we do that Christmas album? Was that 3 years ago or 4?
Which one?
Not the one from 97.
No?
No, that was 97.
The last one.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. I have no idea. No, it had to be longer than that.
I don't think so.
Well, listen, our special guest is here. She's just walking in. Come on in. Watch your step right there. Have a seat right here, right there. We've got Ivana Chubbuck is with us. She's the author of the book, The Power of the Actor, which is such a good book. I'm reading it right now.
As am I. I've had it for a while and read through it before. And as I start venturing back into this
again. The second time.
Honey, because the second time you can mark the note, you can take what you want, you can highlight, even with the Kindle, you can highlight and get what you need.
Yeah.
And relive that.
Yeah. Actually, Frank, who brought you upstairs here, his mother gave it to him as a gift before coming to L.A. to do the thing. When did you write the book? The book is called The Power of the Actor. When did you write the book?
Well, the book came out 2004. But I had been writing. It's kind of like an interesting evolution.
Yeah, it's well written. Have you written a book before?
4 years. But let's tell you, 4 years of writing and rewriting and rewriting. I always tell my actors that it's like acting is not the first bunch of choices that you make. You have to if a person who was a writer gave the first draft of what they had written as what it was going to be the final, it would be awful.
Right.
And if you were to see because I started and I always had 6 in the morning to 10 in the morning every day, including vacations, where I would write the book. And it went through something like 25 incarnations. And the first one was so dense, it was really hard to read because I was trying to make a textbook.
Right.
I'm put in major quotes because you can't see because it's a podcast.
Yeah.
But I just put quotes in the air.
Air quotes.
Air quotes, just so you know. But I realized I needed to make be relatable to people, and when you start getting into it's like a boring professor who drones on. It droned on in literary version of a drone, and so I said I'm going to put my sense of humor in there. I'm going to put my history because I put issues that I have with my mother, my issues with my abusive mother, my issues with my emotionally distant father. My issues, with my daughter, issues with my first husband, who was a real piece of shit, and changed his name.
It happens.
Because he would be the type of person that
would.
Oh
my God!
But I put my own personal stories in there to let people know it's here's the thing. You're not alone.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not alone. And the stuff that we need to use in our work is our darkest, our scariest places to go because it's usually the things that inspire shame.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to take whatever inspires shame and turn it into profound fuel to actually be a source of empowerment.
Yeah.
And so I was just talking this morning because I'm going to Bollywood to work with somebody.
Wow.
I was on the phone with somebody from Mumbai, and there was a woman who I'm going to be working with, who's a big star in Bollywood. And I said, the main thing, especially places like India, but it's true of everywhere in the world, women are treated like second-class citizens and sometimes like third or fourth or fifth. And when you count, the animal chain becomes an animal is more important than a woman is.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, my job is what I'm going to do for you is to help you understand how to take the things that people have told you, society has told you, the rules of of religion have told you
Mm-hmm.
that that you can actually take the things that you feel awful about yourself and use them with great pride and with a sense of purpose, because you're not just doing it for yourself to create empowerment, but the job of an artist, the job of someone, especially people in the performing arts, because what happens is you have a big audience. Your pulpit is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The pulpit is is bigger than any kind of religion could ever give.
Yeah.
So everybody watches TV. Everybody goes to see the movies. It's like you have this obligation to take the empowerment that I'm going to give you as your inner work, that's going to take your personal stuff and make it become something that is empowering to the character and the character's journey,
And transformative to the viewer.
yeah, but transform it to the viewer. So the
Yeah.
viewer goes, if that person on the screen can overcome and win with the very things that I feel shame about, maybe so can I. And it gives hope in a huge subliminal way.
That's
Now,
true.
I want to get into all of that. I want to get into the 12 steps that you've come up with, but
14.
I want to find out what the
that
14
became 12.
Did
And
What
the
were the-
published Penguin book, it became 12
my
because
God, that's hilarious.
unwieldy 14.
What were the two that got left off?
I put two together. It's like a place and fourth wall became place and fourth wall as a tool.
Yes.
As opposed to place is one tool and fourth wall is another tool. And
Yeah.
actions and beats were separated. There was beats, and then a tool was beats, and a tool was actions. And actually, it doesn't even make sense to separate them.
Right.
So, but I didn't want to have 13
Yeah.
when I was doing the 14.
Listen.
It was unlucky.
If the 12 steps work for other programs, it'll work for you.
Exactly.
Now, I want to
Exactly.
get into all of this stuff. You've worked with everybody in the business. You know, Halle Berry thanked you when she got her Academy Award, as did Charlize Theron when she got her Academy Award. Ivana is known as one of the top acting instructors, teachers, tools in Hollywood. Now, you're going to Bollywood to work with an actor there. How different how different is the acting for a Bollywood? Because is it a musical that she's doing?
No. This is like why they hired me is because they really want to transform their industry from being something where it becomes all musicals that without depth and without truth, and turning it into a true industry.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is that's happening. Like I have accredited teachers that I teach from all over the world that are trying to change their industry in the countries. Like for example, Indonesia. I have a guy who's a producer, a director, who has a huge production company, and he came to my program is about 2-3 months of very intensive 14, 16-hour day
training the
to become
teachers.
a teacher.
Got it.
Yeah, and so he took the training so that he could take it. He wants to open up schools all over Indonesia, China, Vietnam, places like that for the industry that's in there, because he says it's not very good and the quality is not very good. I want to change that. So the schools are going to include not just for actors, but for writers and screenwriters as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so he already showed me pictures of like the school, it's a beautiful setup. I'm going to the Philippines in 3 weeks. They have a school of over 1,000 people in the Chubbuck school
Mm-hmm.
there. And since the school has been operational, again, from a teacher who is a director and a producer, who came out here to learn the Chubbuck technique and how to teach it. The people, the writing, the directors, and the actors are winning huge awards that they never won before,
Yeah.
and getting international jobs.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. And what's interesting,
All over the world.
I met you 19 years ago
amazing.
and studied
How did you
with you.
two meet?
You know, I was up for a part in something that I never got, but the casting director said, you need to go and see Ivana Chubbuck. And that's how it happened. In fact, they had me come in 3 different times, which is actually not a lot, but 3 different times to read for this role. I think the movie's called Woman on Top.
Yeah.
And with
You want to hear the weirdest thing? I ended up working with that director as
that one, Fina
Torres.
Fina
Fina Torres is one of my students.
Really?
And she's come out. In fact, I told her this. You guys will particularly love this. She came to me to help her break down as a director a script she brought me, and I said the script's okay, but here's my feeling. My instinct is you need to bring to life a play that's called what they end up calling is Liz in September, but it's a play about lesbian women and about the family dynamic that doesn't include any kind of men, but how they find their way and what is a normal way, because most people don't think of it as lesbian women or gay people of having. A, they think they have alternate lifestyles. They
Right.
don't.
Right.
And so, and especially in Venezuela is where she's from, is like they very revile gays, especially female gays. I mean, it's like you have revile the male gays, but really revile, like, punishing hate crimes. It's really bad.
Wow.
So I said, this is what you need to do. You need to do this play, turn it into a movie, and so she said, it's so weird because the particular author of the play said, you're the only person I want to have direct the movie version, and I wait for you to say yes. And it was weird, like it was just synchronicity.
Yeah, it was
and
total Bashir.
and so she ended up. It's a Spanish movie. It's in Spanish, but she brought it into my classes, and we workshopped it. She translated it into English. We workshopped scenes from it. Most of the actors were from my class, Spanish actors from the class, and he's like winning one award after another. But it was an important film for South America, especially for, I don't know if you know the politics of Venezuela.
Oh yeah, it's outrageous out there. We're going to go to a break real quick, but we've got Ivana Chubbuck. The book is called The Power of the Actor. You got to get this book. It reads so well
and easy, people who don't know,
and we'll get into this because it actually has helped me outside of acting. It's helped me navigate my life in understanding people and their motivations. So we'll talk more about that. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back after this. Squarespace is the place to go if you want to make yourself a gorgeous website.
Yes.
It is fabulous. We've talked about it here so much. I need you to go there right now and get yourself a website because, people used to pass out cards, or business cards and stuff.
Nope.
You could still do that and put your web page on there. But this is the way to go if you want people to see what's going on with you.
My business card is my name and my website.
Hello. And your face. Don't forget those cheekbones.
This face is my ID, bitch.
Yes.
Making a website has never been easier. You can make a gorgeous website in minutes using their beautiful templates and simplistic drag and death drop platform.
Ooh.
Check out squarespace.com/Rue for a free trial. And when y'all are ready to launch, and we know you will be, use the offer code Rue to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. That's offer code RU, squarespace.com.
Some people still don't know about Casper mattresses.
What?
We have been talking ad nauseum about this great product. You and I both own Casper mattresses.
Yes.
They're fabulous. Listen, if you don't know about Casper mattresses, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you need to go over to Casper.com right now and try to figure out your life. Get your life.
They even arrive right to your doorstep.
Right to your doorstep.
In a transportable box.
I love that. You had me at transportable.
You had me at box. We both have the Casper Wave. We both love it. If for some reason you're still not sure about getting a Casper,
I don't know why.
I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but you can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep on it Rip Van Winkle trial. Get $50 towards select mattress purchases by visiting Casper.com/Rue and using the offer code Rue at checkout. That's Casper.com/Rue. Terms and conditions apply.
We've got Ivana Chubbuck here. The book is called The Power of the Actor. I love this book, Ivana. You should be so proud of yourself because
it's my baby.
It is your baby.
It took a long time to come together.
And it's interesting how it has propelled you outside of the classroom because here in LA, you're known as a teacher. It's propelled you around the world teaching people the Chubbuck technique. Now, great for acting, but it's also so intuitive in understanding the motivation behind the human psyche. Where does that, were you a therapist? Where did that understanding come from?
Being really fucked up.
That'll do it.
Really like, I came from such an abusive childhood, and we and you have talked about some of that, and that my mother was mentally ill and a hoarder, and you never knew when she was going to get violent, but she got violent to the point of like really, like for example, my brother at my father's funeral threw him on the ground and stomped on his stomach, and just like,
What?
yeah, it's bad. But she was mentally ill. So, but as a little kid, you're kind of going like, I don't know
But
when
so
I'm going
was
to
your
get hit.
brother.
Well, he's mentally retarded. So it's a whole
I see
different
mental
thing.
illness
But it's
versus
just mental.
versus.
He's got a 50 IQ. She's got she got so many. My brother became a psychiatrist and said she's got just about everything. She's delusional. She's borderline. She's got schizophrenia. She's got a lot of stuff that she has not been taking meds for. So what happened was that there was so much destruction that I started self-destructing,
Of course.
and because so if your own parents can't love you and they want to see you hurt, then why should anybody love me? Why am I even have any reason why anybody would have any kind of feelings of that I have any purpose or inspire anybody to love me? I was a piece of shit. I was a waste of time. So what I did was I made sure that that was the case by doing a lot of drugs and having way too much sex with really bad partners, and so I was going down for the count. Almost died a couple of times of heroin overdose. It's just I have to change the way I'm taking this information in. This information can either be something that it can inspire self-destruction, but it also can inform your journey to overcome and win with. So I started with this whole idea of doing this, even though I was taking other acting classes when I first came here. And I just kept adding, I kept making it be about the thing that I needed to do.
Right.
And then I started teaching it as opposed to just acting using it. And people were responding really well to it, but I didn't have a formula yet.
Right. So it's acting as a form of therapy.
Um, yeah, but it's like Rob Schneider once said, it's therapy without the cure. So it's like, yeah, it's therapeutic because you're using we're not using it, and I think it's dangerous for people to think that acting becomes therapeutic by its nature. It has to be by a subliminal um, uh, connection to, if the character can overcome and win with,
Yeah.
maybe so can I.
Right.
Maybe me as the human being can prosper using the same information that I informed my character with.
Right.
That is why in Russia my book is like a huge bestseller, because they're using it. A lot of people are using it as a self-help book.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that 100%. Now, one of your first triumphs was you got out of Detroit.
That was a triumph.
Tell me about did you always want to become an actor?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I used to. It's a funny story. Actually, I've never told this story. A couple of stories I haven't ever told before. You're getting me. You're getting me. Anyway, I remember watching Katharine Hepburn movies on television, and then going to the bathroom and being Katharine Hepburn, like "How the lilies are in bloom again," kind of thing. I'm doing that in the mirror, closing the door, thinking. I mean, it was like when I got caught, when my father came into the bathroom, and all I was doing was Katharine Hepburn in the mirror. It was almost like being caught masturbating, because it was a private moment for me. This was me connecting to this character, this bigger than life human being, actress Katharine Hepburn, and so that happened when I was about 5-6 years old. So I guess it would be something that helped me find my way to not have to deal with my terrible issues at home.
Yeah. What was your father's reaction to you doing Katharine
Who
Hepburn?
knows? If you've ever been caught masturbating, you don't know what they did.
Right.
All you're doing is thinking, hide.
Yeah.
Hide now.
Shame.
Did he disapprove of it?
Shame.
Did he
Yeah.
disapprove of you acting?
Nah, yeah, he was. The interesting thing about my father was that he was he was an attorney that gave free cases to civil rights to poor people. Most, because we're from Detroit, it was a good many of them were African Americans, and it was giving so much time to the world. He's a Holocaust survivor, so he wanted to give back, because as a survivor, he said, I need to take care of the world.
Yeah.
But he wasn't there for the family.
Right.
And
Right.
it's not like he did not know. He knew that she was doing all the stuff she was doing because we'd wait for him. I have 7 brothers and sisters. We wait for him at the door, just going, Mom did this today. Mom did that today. And he'd go, huh, and then he'd kind of float away and not want to deal with it. But apparently they had good sex because there's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But
What part of Detroit did you grow up in? Do you go to Cass Technical High or any of that?
Well, actually, I grew up in my first part of my life in Detroit proper, where Cass would make sense. Then we, at 5 years old, we moved to Royal Oak.
To where?
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak.
That's where we perform all the time in that theater there.
Oh, yeah.
The Fox Theater?
Royal Oak Theater.
Is that where the Fox Theater is?
I don't know if it's called.
I think the Fox is downtown.
Yeah, it's downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, but Royal Oak is the cool place. So it's like cool, gentrified, and all this kind of. When I was growing up in Royal Oak, it was all auto workers.
Yeah.
Do
you have family there still?
Oh yeah.
Really, your sisters and brothers live there?
Well, some. My mother still lives there.
She's still alive. Your mother's still alive.
I know. I don't get it.
Do you have you
how
talk?
She does this?
Yeah. Do you talk to her? Do you guys have a relationship?
Well, she doesn't right now. She's got really bad Alzheimer's, which I believe that all, and also there's science to this, that all kind of diseases of any kind are based in psychological things. And like, for example, heart disease usually comes from a broken heart.
Yeah,
and
sure.
different kinds of cancers, wherever the cancer is located, that's the issues of that that have never been able to be worked through, so it becomes
it manifests in a physical
way.
Yeah.
So I believe that Alzheimer is because she doesn't want to remember what she did.
Yeah.
Because the last conversation I had with her, she said, "Your sister told me that I stabbed her with a knife." Well, I never would do that. So you tell me that it was your other sister that did that, right? And I said, "No, you did do it. I saw you do it." But that's like the whole thing about that was before the Alzheimer's. But like there's so many. This one, aspect, a little stab. She still has a scar.
Your sister does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like I was 8. She was like 7. And my other little sister was there too, and I just was like horrified, watching this happen. I will never forget that. And there's so many things.
I would imagine it's linked into the mental illness too.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
Absolutely.
I asked you this question the other day. I was, I've had a lot of therapy, worked on myself, and to sort of go into acting and do something where I use that stuff. I'm a little afraid because I've worked hard to sort of not let that be harmful to me. And the Chubbuck technique would have you bring that stuff up and actually use that terrible, awful stuff to propel a scene.
Well, it's not to propel a scene. It's to propel overcoming and winning with. It's about the win. It's about if I can use this bad stuff to propel my purpose and my velocity and my urgency to want to win, to overcome and win something, it also creates catharsis.
Yeah.
And just, because we just did this the other day, it's like, and I asked you to give me adjectives. I said, how did you feel afterwards? Because you were afraid, as you're saying right now, that if I use this stuff, I am going to disintegrate. I'm going to fall apart. I'm going to break.
Yes.
I think that's the best word. I will break.
Yeah.
And and you said, I feel warm. I feel hopeful. I feel excited to continue this journey. And it's like, that's what it does.
Yeah.
But so many techniques are based in just bringing the stuff up. And that to me is what you're talking about. And that's something you could conceivably break from, opening up some doors that you don't have any place to put. I'm giving purpose to the pain. Purpose to the pain. Because if you have purpose to it, it doesn't seem just like I'm jerking off to like my inner pain. It's like it's not self-indulgent. It's not like I have this pain and poor me. It doesn't inspire a pity party.
Right.
What it does inspire is proaction.
Yeah.
And I tell my actors when they're just bringing this stuff up, I said, yeah, it's truthful, but you're not proactive with it. Without the proaction, you're not an emotional hero. I don't need to watch someone melt down.
Right. Because the idea is
the other side of
to
it.
see them win in that situation. That's the key.
Exciting.
Yeah. The book
It's
is called
exciting.
The Power of the Actor. It's Ivana Chubbuck's book. I told you the other day, I saw you on the Johnny Carson show. Recently, they rerun the Johnny Carson show on, I think it's Antenna TV or Cody
I
TV.
get like
Right.
18 cents of residuals.
Yeah.
Now.
Yes.
Because we praise all the time.
Exactly,
But it's like,
exactly.
So you came out here to do acting. Did you do a lot of acting?
not a lot, but enough to be able to say. Like, there were a couple of years where I actually made enough money to live pretty nicely. Mostly did comedy. I did stand-up comedy for a bit. At the same time as like David Letterman, Jay Leno, we were just like right down the street at the Comedy Store.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I always tell my my actors, my writers, and my directors, I say, you got to have humor. I don't care how dark it is. You must have humor. We don't understand
Because that's
the
winning.
dark.
That's winning. Is
Also, if you can't understand the dark without the light.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And you actually said in the text, you said you're going to illuminate the dark.
Yes.
And I told that to my daughter, and she went, "Oh my God!" and she wrote it down.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
well,
that
that
makes
is-
sense.
That is
To
winning.
illuminate the dark, and that's what we're doing.
That's what the whole purpose is, especially if you come from a Michigan background. You
I'm
have
using
to,
that too.
Yeah.
you go.
You got a lot coming out there. Walking out.
You've
with.
got to win, and that's what those comics do. And in fact, they give us permission to laugh with them because
what
of that darkness.
Because what do they use in their work?
They're using humor.
I was
No,
just
no,
watching.
They use their lives. All their jokes are based on the stuff they're talking about, the issues they have with women. They talk about the issues they have with men. Amy Schumer, it's all about like her issue about her weight, about her relationship with men, her relationship with her growing up.
Yeah.
It's like the best comics are about talking about their lives
Yeah.
and putting the spin. I always call it, you can spin anything. You take anything and spin it into being something wonderful or being something horrible.
Right.
And they say we have to do the spin as artists because we take the art out of it if we don't give people hope. Art needs to give people hope.
Yeah.
We have to empower people with art, not destroy them, destruct. It's like that's the purpose of art, because there aren't that many, true artists in the world. That you have to take that seriously. It is an obligation.
Yeah.
And you do that with your show. I told you before, I'm like, you can't interrupt when I'm watching, your show. I was just like, nobody can talk, or they will be damaged. But the point is,
thank you. That's very kind.
But think about all the
queens on
the
there.
queens on the show they all have stories.
Yes,
and
they
you
do.
always make sure they tell their stories, and
Yeah.
that I think is a beautiful thing, because it could just be the showmanship of all that and people putting on makeup, but you see behind the scenes they're talking to one another, talking about their lives. You even ask them on stage, why do you need this so bad? What are you going to learn from this? You ask pertinent questions that allow them to reveal the kinds of things that people in the audience say. I may not be gay, I may not want to be a queen, but that person has the same story as me.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with sexual predilection,
Right.
or job needs,
Yeah.
and it's like you're helping. That's why it's so successful, because it's not. It's like, and I think you said 13-year-old girls.
13-year-old girls are
Okay.
our biggest.
Because
Yeah.
think about as a woman, it's harder to be a woman than it is to be a man, because all of a sudden, like you're meant to create the life, and so all these hormones are in your body, like at 12, 13 when you get your period, and it becomes like insanity that's happening in your mind of like how to like deal with life, and everything is dramatic.
Yeah.
Everything is even more like a boy's growing up is drama,
Mhm.
teen world, but a woman is hyper dramatic. Am I right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the most
Yeah.
awful
The
time in a girl's
metamorphosis.
life.
It's
Yeah.
like a butterfly.
I once said to someone, I said, look, you give me a chance to kill myself now or go back to being a teenager. I said, I'll kill myself now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the thing is, your audience is that again, because they have anything, even understand the idea of gay or straight for the most part, is because the story of feeling damaged, of feeling not good enough, of feeling like people don't get them and they don't fit into the world. Most girl teens don't think they fit in anywhere.
Yep.
I know. That's
And even
true.
if they're popular, they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So that's why your audience is that. That is the psychology of why that is your biggest
I agree.
audience.
I agree. We've got Ivana Chubbuck. The book is called The Power of the Actor. We're going to take a break real quick. We'll be right back after this. You know, I can't talk about Squarespace enough. I love this company. They make it so easy for you to make your own website. It is unbelievable. And we get so many emails from people who have made these beautiful websites. If you have a website that you've made through Squarespace, send us an email at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. I want to know about it. Michelle, you have one there. Who's that letter from?
So this is from our friend Greg. Dear Rue and Michelle, your podcast, Sleeping in the Poppies, which was a recent one that affected a lot of people, Rue, is so timely and so appreciated. You spoke for so many of us in such a caring, intentional, and truthful way that erases any shame or embarrassment about depression. That title is now part of my lexicon and is my mental totem when I find myself in that place. On another note, when starting my new business, Candle Daddy, I knew I was going to have to launch a website, and trust me, no one is more untech than me. The thought struck fear and dread in me, but I dug in, shopped around, and chose Squarespace. I listened to your podcast faithfully, and I knew that if you two could get behind them, then they must be good. And no truer words have been spoken. They are wonderful. It was so easy, and when I would come to an impasse, their online support, it is unequaled, and their tutorials are written in such a way that even I can understand them. Customers love my site, and I love my Squarespace peeps. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for standing with Squarespace. And that's from Greg Bryant, and it's CandleDaddyATX.com. CandleDaddyATX.com.
I think that is such a wonderful story, and it was one of my favorite podcasts, too. You know, you can get a free trial with no credit card required. Just go to squarespace.com/Rue for a free trial. And Michelle, when you are ready to launch, you do what?
Use that offer code RU to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's offer code RU, and you'll be getting a great deal. Thank you all, and thank you to Squarespace for always sticking with us.
Keep sending us those emails with your websites. Go to RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. We've got Ivana Chubbuck with her book, The Power of the Actor. It is amazing. And even if you don't want to get into acting, you need this book because it helps you navigate and understand human behavior. It's all there, and really understanding what motivates you. I think it's a hit around the world because it is a revolution. Now, we're in a time where art is being put under question, and people, I feel, aren't putting as much value on art, and people are, and in fact, we started seeing this years ago where art programs started falling the wayside. Mm-hmm. Tell me, around the world in your travels, is it that same way outside of America? Do the value of artists and the role they play in our culture, mm-hmm. How strong is that in other places?
Well, because my focus is really about the entertainment arts. It's like not only have they not given up on that, everybody wants more. And think about there's streaming channels, there's cable, there's all kinds of ways that you can get your movie. There's theater, of course, and it's like there's so many avenues of the entertainment business that is way beyond what we ever had before. Back in the day, it's like every country would have their own stations, right? Mm-hmm. Now we can get stations from all over the place. Not just America, but every country has, like, I worked on Bones for 12 years with the stars. They would come to my house every weekend, and we go over, like, bringing in the humor, making sure that the procedure will have humor, sexuality, connection, and then also deepen it out. But Bones is like a huge hit all over the world.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so what we're talking about are people who want to be great because now they're, now the environment is huge where it used to be their country and that's all they were going to be seen in.
Right.
So now the possibility that you can be seen or be used in other countries around the world.
It's a worldwide platform.
It's a worldwide platform now. Social media and all that other stuff. So the thing is that people now are putting more. It's what before it used to be. You went to drama school and then you were done. Now my schools are doing really well all over the world because people know that's not enough anymore. Because your particular drama school only goes so far. It's like asking a doctor to say like once they went to medical school, then he's never going to learn anything more
The
about
latest,
medicine
yeah.
Right, right.
for the rest of his doctoring years. It's like, well, now you have like the bigger platform. You have to rise to the occasion and be able to compete
Yeah,
in the world theater, in the world arena.
yeah,
And so it's actually like pumped up the value of education and artistry
yeah.
and being really great and pride in that. In terms of people going to let's see, art galleries, that kind of
Mm,
stuff. I think that's probably at an all-time low because it's social media, which I
You
believe
don't
is
need it.
often antisocial,
right.
because it's a way through technology to really not truly communicate. So that's why I think it's even more important that my actors, my writers and directors really explore the depth and the truth of their needs without shame, with empowerment, with urgency, and with pride. And so um, it is in terms of the difference between somebody who is a real artist and someone who isn't. Is a person who really wants to look at it, who wants to fight their fear, because it's the most courageous thing to deal with the issues that you feel are that make you ugly,
Yeah.
and
Where do you get the permission to do that? How do you give yourself the permission to go to that place?
well, it helps to have a mentor that believes in it, and to also like say, look at all these other people, like Halle Berry and like a great sort of Sylvester Stallone, where he got more awards for Creed than any other movie he's ever done, including the original Rocky.
Hmm.
But we dealt with the issues,
You
and
worked with him on that.
yeah,
Oh.
and he talked about me in NPR and in New York Times, so I can tell you the secret world because I usually never tell people secrets.
Mm-hmm.
But he told the world, so I can.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, his son had died a couple of years before, and as a parent, you can never ever, have resolution with that.
Yeah.
And so what we did was I said, we're going to find resolution through you playing Rocky in this incarnation of Rocky, which
Yeah.
is Creed. And if you know the story actually lends itself to it because the Creed's son is who he has to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made it all about, and it's really finding, because he said, I don't want to go there. And he literally said, I don't want to go there. He says that in the New York Times article.
Mm.
And so he said, and I said, let's just try it. And so I took 3 pages of late conversation he had
Did he
in the
write that
script.
one too?
No.
Creed? Okay.
He helped.
Right.
He put his voice to
It
it.
just wasn't
Yeah.
as personal as Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Right.
it was personal because
Meaning, you know what
he
I'm
wrote
saying.
But the point is, we wrote a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
so I pulled out 3 pages. You know the story because I did that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
pulled out 3 pages, and I said, okay, just look at me, see your son, and I want you to do is tell him through the words on the page what
Mm-hmm.
you never got a chance to tell him before he died. And oh my God, it was so good. And it was like
Mm.
we both were like crying, and we both were like, there was so much going on. I said, okay, I'm in. But he was terrified.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense, though. That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
of course,
The
but
thought of that.
but he also said I had catharsis by doing
Mm.
it. As a result of bringing the thing that he was burying in, he ended up being finding a way to find some kind of resolution, some closure.
And freedom.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and and the ability to say, like, I'm painting a pretty picture with my pain. I'm painting
Mm-hmm.
a pretty picture with my pain. I'm not just sitting in therapy working it out.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why a lot of people, Hallie once told me this. She said, I tell you more than I tell my psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's like she knows we're gonna paint our canvas is our acting. So we're gonna do something creative with this, which makes you want to tell
And
more.
helpful to people who are watching.
Yeah,
It's not just, me. It's you're actually sharing this. Now,
absolutely.
you were an actor. Do you miss acting? Tell me
Not
about,
at
no, no, no.
all.
Tell me about switching over from actor to teacher. What was that journey?
It was so easy because I always felt like whenever I was on a set working with people, I'd always like, actors always help each other out. I'd give notes, they'd give me notes, but they ended up giving some of their best performances they ever gave off of my notes. And people started just showing up at my door, so could you help me out? Then I
Mm-hmm.
started charging,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
I just at one point I just I really like being the nurturing force behind people, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And I really don't like being the person that's the one that's heralded. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be the resource of your power.
Yeah.
I want to be the force behind you. And I could be the unsung hero. Many times I've worked with people to great awards, and they didn't give me any,
Credit.
say my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. That was what my reward is: their growth and their abilities and their skills and their the change of how they were changing in their own personal lives to being in a much better place in their lives. And so that's my reward. And that reward is so full and so deep for me that I remember I work with a lot of
Yeah.
directors.
Yeah.
They ask me to work with them all the time. I've had people write my name in and say, "Will you do this part? Will you even put your name in there?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "No, but I'll give you actors that can play it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to act anymore. 100% do not want to,
Yeah.
because my joy and my purpose, because I believe in God and I believe that God gives everybody a gift, but your job is to figure out what that gift is.
Right.
I knew that when I was acting, I said, it's not quite right, but I'm in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been being open to understanding what is my gift, what is my gift. And then when I started really committing to it and I told my agent, stop sending me out, you're fired, you're done, I don't want to act anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was then I just felt so satisfied.
Yeah.
There was an inner glow to me.
Yeah.
And again, you see when we worked together the other day, you see like I prosper from
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I started your class about 19 years ago, and then and a lot of big names were in there during that time. I remember Ava Mendez had just taken off at that point, and she was a student in class. And then, of course, there are a lot of students who never take off. What do you tell them? What's that conversation like?
Because they're good actors, I'm sure. To get into
I'm
your
sure
class,
they're
you have to be a
good.
good
I'm
actor.
sure they're good. But it
luck
just
is
never
also,
happened.
yeah.
What do you
I
say to them?
I don't think it's luck. I think luck is made. I just
Really?
think people wait for things to happen. That is the person who waits for luck.
Oh.
But you can be proactive. It's like so many people are, what they do is they write something for themselves. And that piece may never work itself out, but they film it, they work, and then people see it, go, I love that. That piece may never get seen, but someone's seen it that's in the industry saying, I love this. But you got to not just sit back on your waiting for someone to knock on your door. It's like finding love.
True.
It's like finding love. It's like are you lucky because you found this great man or you found this great woman? It's not luck. You put yourself out there and you make yourself compelling, so that people want to work with you. It's not. It's like me having books all over the world, translations all over the world, and soon more. There's like just keep getting more and more happening. Initially, it was me putting myself out there. Me, like I the Spanish edition, for example. I was in Mexico in a pool, and I was just floating around, and some guy was there, and I said, "What do you do? What do you do? Your normal pool talk, and when you go on vacation." I publish translations of books into Spanish, and I'm from Spanish. From English to Spanish, and I said, "Let me tell you about my book." And then he said, "Well, I'm on vacation. Leave me alone." And so I said, well, just give me your address and I will send it to you and you can read it whenever you want. And I did not stop nudging him. And so he did. He read it. He loved it. And he made it happen. But it was like, there's no space that I do not feel is something I cannot to apply that sense of proaction. Be proactive. That is like I'm constantly giving advice to people. Be proactive. You're waiting for someone to give you a part. It ain't going to happen.
Right.
How many teachers teach obviously we can't all go to you. So people are listening that live here. How many teachers do you have that are teaching your technique?
Well, in my school,
yes,
I have 6 other teachers so that they can come to me. And they can come to me because of the process is you learn the base from the beginning class, and then you move up to the advanced, and then you go into the master class.
Oh, great.
But because, and this is the reason why it's a constant input, people become major working actors from my school. So what happens is that I have openings. That person just got a job and they're like working for like 8 months on a series. Well, we have an opening for that person because this is how I love the fact that this system works. The proof is in the pudding. People get jobs from it. They get awards from it. They were able to pay their rent with it, and they don't have to take those stupid day jobs that we all hate.
Yeah.
And so so yeah, it's a constant influx of people coming in and learning, growing. I insist. I'm constantly talking about being proactive to my students, always, so that they do become proactive and get what they want, because you have to get it.
You have to. You have to get it. Now, you've had a lot of big names come through there. Do they continue to take your classes after they've made it big? I know Brad Pitt and all these people have come through your class. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let you answer that after this break. We're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back with Ivana Chubbuck. The book is called The Power of the Actor. I want to know about continuing the study. Do you need to continue the study? We'll be right back after this. Now, Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price.
Yep.
I love Casper mattresses, and I think you do too. I think everybody should love themselves a Casper mattress.
You know who loves their Casper mattress the most?
Who?
My dog, Bellatrix.
Oh, that's right, because they make dog mattresses.
And the older she is, she's going to be 13 in December.
Oh.
I know. She's the
time
senior.
for a bat mitzvah.
It is time. She's
Yeah.
becoming a lady.
Yes, she is.
She loves her bed so much. I know this is not about that, but they do sell dog beds. Casper is amazing, you guys. Besides the original Casper, they offer 2 other mattresses, the Wave and the Essential. The Wave features a patent-pending premium support system to mirror the natural shape of your body. This is the top line that they have. The Essential has a streamlined design at a price that won't keep you up at night, starting at only $250.
$250?
Do you know how cheap
That's
that is?
all?
And you're talking about the Casper mattress.
Yeah,
So we got the Wave. We love it. If for some reason you guys are still not sure about getting a Casper, you can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial. Did I mention free shipping and returns throughout the U.S. and Canada?
Ooh,
Get
girl.
$50 towards select mattress purchases by visiting Casper.com/Rue using that offer code Rue at checkout. That's Casper.com/Rue. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back with Ivana Chubbuck, the renowned, worldwide, incredible acting teacher.
Oh, go on.
From yes, everybody. She's worked with everybody. Been in town for. Everybody knows her. The book is called "The Power of the Actor." I love this book. How many languages is it translated into?
I know something like 15, 16.
Wow.
Right now.
It's in Portuguese, Spanish,
French, Danish, Hebrew, Russian, Japanese.
Did you have to change the text at all for different cultures?
I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't speak any other languages,
but
but
people
English.
are the same, aren't they?
Well, it's interesting because language is, because I studied anthropology in school and linguistics. In fact, I never studied acting in college. I studied all the things that make people people. So I studied behavioral science. I studied
See, that
cultural
comes through in the book,
anthropology.
actually.
I had psychology.
Yeah.
And also linguistics is very interesting because there's some words like love is like 100 different versions of love in French. In Russian, not so much. There's a lot of words for power in German, so it's like but I'm giving you the real basic. Languages are based on our needs and where we come from. But bottom line is I've noticed from doing workshops all over the world, in entirely different cultures, that people are people. They have the same drives, same needs, same insecurities, same fears, same issues with their mates, same issues with their parents, and on and on and on. But it's like so outrageously the same. What makes culture, what makes language, is how we manifest and negotiate our needs. But it's exactly the same needs. That's why everybody relates to this. And everybody also relates to the idea of self-destruction with the bad information as opposed to construction with the bad information. Everybody relates to that because everybody does it. It is a natural human. I talk about this, the path. There's 2 paths that everybody has to take. Nobody has a perfect life, so there's always going to be some version of pain. It could be large, could be small, but there's going to be life happening. Life happens. So there's a path of least resistance, which is the path where you just say, well, okay, that's just what it is, and you become defeated by it, and what you do is self-destruct with it. And self-loathing and all that kind of stuff. So then, but the path of most resistance is the hardest path to take. That brambles hitting you in the face and bare feet on top of rocks and monsoons coming in your face. To be able to actually take that information to grow and evolve with is the path of most resistance. However, when you get there, it's so satisfying.
Of course.
Yes.
So you get like, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. There's a lot of things that can get in your way. But when you get to the top, it's a satisfying journey. You'd also I'm trying to get to the top of a hill on a sunny day. That's not so satisfying, So, the thing is so those, not only is the darkness and our issues and our insecurities and our past dramas something that is something we can use to overcome with, but it's also it's part of the colors,
Yeah.
that make the journey satisfying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we talked about class earlier. The Ivana Chubbuck technique is taught at your school and schools around the world. Should an actor, after they've made it, I've seen some big names in your class, should they continue to study?
Well, it depends. Usually, there's no usual. Everybody has their own journey on that. Like, some people continue because they don't have the time to actually be in class. What they do is they'll continue with privates. And I've been working with most people I've been working with for 15, 20 years, some of the more famous people. And then some people who have worked with for so long that they're still, I mean, I'll get emails from them saying, I used your stuff in it, but I didn't actually physically work with them on that particular project.
Right.
But they use the technique, and because most people's books are like tattered,
Yeah.
and like, I mean, like, just so, like, read and reread and written into and all this kind of stuff. So people, they have their guide. They have, a lot of people call it their Bible. So it's like, some people do, some people don't. But it's their personal journey. It's like
Yeah.
Javier Bardem, actually, between movies, goes back to his acting class in Spain, between every single movie.
He's a genius too, that guy.
And then, well, exactly.
Yeah.
The point is, I think education should never stop.
Yep.
Some people feel that they know enough at a certain point. Some people don't, but that's their personal journey. And
Yeah.
it's not for me to tell them what that is. As long as you're in front of me, I will give you the best stuff to use, that you're not going to get to the next level. You're going to get the next 5 levels.
I love it.
Work.
Now,
That's
the book
amazing.
is the book still in print? I got mine from iBooks on iPhone, on Apple thing. Is it still in actual print?
Yeah.
It is, so you can buy the physical book.
Oh, yeah. We could buy the physical book at, like, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Bookstores everywhere. You could also get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon has it, always has it.
Do you have a spoken version of it? Do you do it?
I choose not to, for a reason, because I also use, you're reading the book. There's a lot of examples of what you would use for this particular scene, for example. But if I read it, people say, "Oh, that's the only way you can say that line," and you're not going to put your own
Well, that's interesting.
personalizations to it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't.
As an acting coach, that makes sense.
What do you tell to young people who may be in your class or who you meet around the world who want to get into acting? What's the advice you give them?
Well, I think it's really important to be educated, to find a place that you can really feel like you can grow. Work really hard. Work ethic is super important, to really not only find a place that will give you a resource of education, but also take risks in the choices you make, not only as your inner work, but in the choices that you make in terms of what you're going to do as an actor or writer or director. Take chances, take risks, be bold. Boundaries are meant to be crossed. Push the envelope, do things that would be like, whoa, I can't believe that person did that. Because that's the kind of stuff we want to be like, daredevils in our emotional path. Just being able to, like, to me, work ethic and taking risks and being fearless in your choices is the recipe to success in all things.
Yeah. Why are there so few actors who on par with Geraldine Page, Sandy Dennis, and Kim Stanley? Why are there so few of those?
Because it's always going to be, the more excellent you are, there's always going to be less people in that pot. So if you think in terms of, like, genius is, there are this many. Okay, you can see small little inch between my 2 fingers that I just made.
Yeah.
There's that many, and but normal people, normal intelligence, there is like a huge amount. So, like you say, um, so genius level is always going to be a smaller group of people. So whether you're genius artist, genius actor, or genius like Einstein's, how many Einsteins are there?
Right.
You know, so it's a but they're every every grouping of like of humanity and age, there's always going to be a small select group that are geniuses in whatever field it is that they do.
Who would you add to that list? I've named Kim Stanley, Jolene Page, and Sandy Dennis. Who would you? Anthony Hopkins. Who would you
Anthony
add?
Hopkins, yeah, Jack Nicholson, um, Annette Bening,
Oh, she's brilliant.
She is,
Yeah.
and so
Meryl Streep.
don't even get me started on that. I was so upset with that Liverpool, how she did not get
Right.
any. That was
I
so
agree.
brilliant.
She isn't never not brilliant. She
Right.
is
I
an
agree.
amazing, amazing actress who doesn't care about awards. That's why she doesn't. Because you have to politic it.
That's right.
I don't. You know about the politics. Right? The politics are key.
It certainly is.
And Judith Light is one of my girls. And
Yes,
so
well-
Judith Light is like, I think, one of the greats.
I
Well,
agree.
listen,
She's
darkness cannot
transcendent.
survive.
Did
Darkness
you see her
cannot
on
survive.
Versace? Did you see her on Versace?
Judith Light
Oh,
Judith
she's
Light?
in an ad campaign for them.
No.
in the show. In
Oh, the show.
series.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yes.
She was like transcendent.
Yeah.
Haunting.
Even at Transparent, she blew my mind.
She's
That's-
amazing.
That's
Listen,
her doing the Chubbuck technique.
I've
It's like but she'll talk about it. People ask her, "What do you need to do to be successful in this business?" And she says, "Learn the Chubbuck technique, and take risks in your choices." And so she knows that when she first came to me, it was after. Who's the boss? And she felt like after some years she hadn't been working, and that she felt that it was over for her because older women don't work. And I said, well, we can't look at it that way. Let's just look with blinders on, go after objective, really use the stuff that makes you like who you are from the depths and the darkness and the scary stuff. And we're going to propel that into your journey in this particular role, whatever it is. Obviously, she started working.
she changed the
working.
game.
She did. You know what I
changed the
think did it?
Totally.
Proof.
She totally
When
did.
she did Proof. Do you remember when she did that?
On Broadway.
Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
feel like that was some kind of
I
paradigm
think you're
shift
right. I
for
think
her.
you're right.
And we saw
Becau-
her differently.
Yeah, and listen, I've said it before. Darkness cannot survive in the presence of Judith Light.
That's true.
I'm telling you right
That's
now.
True.
But listen, I've been a Judith Light fan since Karen on One Life to Live, kiddo. So
Yep.
she's got it.
She's brilliant.
So when you see someone who has the potential in your class, like a Sandy Dennis or a Kim Stanley in your class, what do you do? Do you take them to the side and say, "Listen, kiddo, listen, I'm going to send you here. I'm going to do this. What do you need to do?"
I'm a real person about equality. I don't think that a teacher should ever pick people out. It's not without the other students' knowledge that you just did that.
Yeah.
And it makes them feel lesser than when, in fact, they could be the next Sandy Dennis.
Right.
Or they could be the next,
Benicio del Toro.
There you go.
or Benicio del Toro, or whoever that if you feel is like great, Emily Blunt, it's not for me to say. It's for me to help you make your dreams come true. If you're proactive, you study hard, you don't have to be naturally talented. You could create that talent from work ethic and balls.
Yeah.
I call for my women, I call them lady balls.
Yeah.
So let's take your lady balls and give yourself a lady heart on.
Yeah. Well, because listen, this
I actually
town
have balls.
Creative people inherently have a lot of struggle, internal struggle. There's a lot of darkness in there. What about the people who are so self-destructive? I mean, is that part of your job description as an instructor to help them navigate and to learn how to deal with? Sometimes it's drugs, sometimes it's just personal demons. What do you do with that?
Well, what I do with that is taking the character on the page, or if they're writing something or directing something. This is true for all we're all telling a story together. Actors, directors are telling a story together. Those demons, whether it's in the form of drugs or suicidal tendencies or whatever, I say let's put that towards the character's needs, so it doesn't have to be so in your face about you.
So you're taking the pressure off of them, actually,
Yeah,
as a human.
exactly.
Interesting.
Wow.
I love the way you put that.
Yes.
I'm stealing that now.
Yeah, I love it. I love
a lot
it.
of stealage going on here.
Yeah, the book is called The Power of the Actor. It's Ivana Chubbuck. I just want everybody out there to read this book because, in the 19 years, I said this earlier, your voice has always been in my head because be it a 7-Eleven or something, and I see a transaction go down or someone trips over something, and just watching human behavior and going, what motivated that person to do that? Why did they say that? There's that one.
What's even more interesting about that? It's like the thing that I found about this technique for myself is that I start to realize why my mother she made the choices she did, why my husband is going through blah, 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 and we're having these struggles or whatever, why my child did this. So it's not just my revelations about me, but why. It helps me forgive and it helps me understand so that I can have a relationship with that person. So just my mother, I say all this bad stuff about my mother, but here's the deal about all that. She was raped when she was 13 by her uncle. My grandfather was a rabbi. And so what happened was that in the Jewish religion, when you're really Orthodox, women are the temptresses. And so as a temptress, she was 13. My grandfather's brother was in his 30s. She was a 13-year-old temptress.
Right.
So she went to them and said, this is what happened. And she thought she was going to get comfort and solace. And instead what she got,
her, right?
they blamed her and hit her. And hit her and said these words. They said, never speak of this again. You will be ashamed to the family.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so it was, so no wonder she's mentally ill.
And no wonder she's got the Alzheimer's to forget all of that stuff. A thought manifests itself into a physical reality. I didn't know
that until I started looking at other people's characters and going okay, oh, this character has the same mental illness as my mother. And it's like this person's base is, oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So it helps me not understand me, but all the people that are an important part of my life.
And it helps, in my case, it helps my ego from co-opting every situation to make it about me and go, put myself in their shoes and realize, actually have some perspective on the whole scene. It's speaking
which also takes away the onus. It takes away the gravity of it.
Yeah.
So it puts it puts air to it.
Yeah.
It allows us to breathe through it because sometimes we get so oppressed by that information that there's a lack of breath and we get suffocated.
Yeah.
Like emotionally suffocated.
Yeah. We've got Ivana Chubbuck. The book is called The Power of the Actor. I love talking to you so much. Thank you so much. I know you're on your way overseas to go work. And
to every other country in the
world. You took the time to come and talk to us. I just have one more question. We're going to keep it really short, but
keep it short when you talk to me.
Yeah, well,
that's true, honey.
When some actors have been in your class for a long time and they're thinking of throwing in the towel and they're really good, what do you say to them?
Well, it depends on the actor.
But they're in your class.
I know, but sometimes I'll say, maybe this is something you shouldn't do.
You will.
Yeah. And then sometimes I say it's a crime for you to quit. Just keep going. You're just not giving it enough time and be more proactive.
Yeah.
Because you're just not being proactive. If you're sitting at home waiting for your agent to make a phone call for you, and it just doesn't work that way.
Right. There's something in Kabbalah called the proactive solution. And it's very much, something else. That. Yeah, you should research that.
Yeah.
But it's always,
oh my God.
It's very helpful, and it's something you can actually do daily to be proactive.
And we're not talking about an acne cream at all.
Not the acne cream or wash or anything Katy Perry sells.
Yes.
This is an actual thing. You'll love it.
That's hysterical.
Thank you so much, Ivana Chubbuck. The Chubbuck Technique. The book is available on Amazon. I got mine through
I got
iTunes.
mine on Kindle or one of those.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Whatever country you're listening to this in.
Also on my website, you could find the book in different languages. There's a part of on my website that says getting the book.
Ivana Chubbuck. website.com. 2 B's.
Yeah.
Yes. Power of the Actor. Thank you so much. And I will be seeing you very soon, my dear.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Michelle, until next time.
Yes, my love.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.